So let's talk about the three of us, who we are and what we're doing. It's the webinar, Dearmouring the Collective Shadow, or how to dearmor the collective shadow, what that actually is. We will elaborate on that. But first of all, I would like to give it to my left. What is Susanna, to introduce yourself? Who are you for people who don't know you?
Okay, thank you. First, hi and welcome everyone. So wonderful to share this evening with you. Many of you I recognize and some of you I've never met, so extra welcome and lovely meeting you. I had a very long day, so I'm full of giggles this evening, just so you know. And my name is Susanna. I'm the co-founder of Dearmouring Arts. I would say almost a lifelong seeker, been exploring myself and the world around me for about 25 years. I'm utterly dedicated and devoted to understand this human ride and help others to do the same. Check.
All right, thank you, Sanna. And who are you, Deanne, for people who don't know you? Maybe you don't know it either.
Yeah, I'm basically a lifelong seeker of truth and radical kind of exposure, if you like, mainly of myself. So I've been working on myself since I was 17. And my lifelong interest really is the core, like how real am I? Why am I who I am? And how much of me is not exposed, therefore what can I do to expose it? So the shadow work is my lifelong, it's me. You know, I'm friends with shadow. I went to deepest, darkest corners of human experience in my lifetimes. And yeah, I'm a walking example of possible transmutation from shadow into light. And this is my commitment to share that with people. So that's like a very little nugget about me and my life. If you want to know more, you're welcome to ask.
Okay, thank you, Sanas. Thank you, Deanne. A few words about myself. My name is Matt. I'm a guest teacher in the Dearmouring Arts. I've been teaching 8 trainings with them both together over the last 4 years, I think. I'm into sacred sexuality. I'm a sexual dearmoring practitioner. I've created a structure that calls somatic consent.
Matt, your sound is low. I'm sorry to cut in. Yeah, just turn it up or, yeah.
Okay.
Much
Better?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I can turn it on over there. So I'm super passionate about dearmoring, and I have different experiences about physical, emotional, mental, spiritual dearmoring, and I'm super passionate about guiding people letting go of their kind of protection shield if they want to. I see shadows as something transformative. I am a shadow hunter myself for my own shadows. And with Sana, for example, we have a little sport where we just calling our own shadows out to get more potential free in ourselves. So it's a sport for us. And I don't see the shadows as something negative or wrong. I see that as a potential and as a superpower, as long as we are capable and brave enough to bring that into the open and let it to be seen, because everybody else can see it anyway. And the only person who can't see their own shadows is ourselves. And that's good that we have some reflections here and there where we can grow. So today we have the webinar, The Collective Shadow. And Deanne, would you like to elaborate a few sentences, or you, Sana, how this has come into the birth?
I just want to say one thing first before we go into that. So for you who have never met us before, like this trio, just know that we are very different, but we are kind of moving towards the same cause-ish. That means that sometimes we disagree, and yeah, we disagree, and we can disagree out loud, but we are still on the same page. So enjoy that if you want, and if that happens. But just know that we are three individuals, and we don't claim to know the truth. We are just humble seekers, and we agree and disagree. So I want to frame that and say that.
What can look sometimes in the training when we work together like mommy and daddy and children, and then we just like having a public fight in front of people, and people have been in the training, they know us, that we're actually very controversial with our own perception, and none of us is claiming any truth whatsoever. Yeah. Anyway, giving it to Sana or Deanne, so to elaborate a few words about how does the collective Dearmouring or the collective shadow came into being. So this is one webinar in a series of Dearmouring arts as a lifestyle. And Deanne, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I would, yeah. So it, I'm sure most of you resonate with what I'm about to say, but over the last few months, 6 months, 1 year, shit is hitting fan big time. Like globally, individually, personally, people are being forced to look at themselves. Systems are forced to look at themselves. Countries, governments, everything is forced to look at itself and to really question, is it true? Is it real? Is it in integrity, or is it fake bullshit? So this had started intensifying over the last few months quite rapidly, and it escalated in our group recently. We're not gonna disclose who, what, where, but basically the collective shadow and the damage that is done through it to the collective was really highlighted, to the point that 3 of us had to step in and say, no, not here, not in this space. You can go and do it elsewhere, but not fucking here. So because of the amount of fire and integrity that was kind of birthed through that process, we decided to throw this webinar because the other one was private. We wanted to open the same conversation of the shadow in public and record it so we can put it on YouTube, and so the collective can actually start looking at itself in a very direct, honest, and transparent public way, because that's where we're headed. We're headed into transparency as a collective, as a Earth. We're headed towards that direction, and what is in the way is shadow. Not as a bad thing, but just as a hidden thing, as an unseen thing, as everything that people don't want to be seen. So this cannot stay as it is. Everything has to be seen. Now we're coming more and more. It's going to intensify to the point that basically everybody knows everything. And if you're hiding it, then you can just go play on your own, because nobody's going to want to play with you. So that's not the world, Earth that we want to create. So coming out of that, we want to open this conversation to probe the field, the collective, about what is the shadow, how do we see it, how do we work with it, how do we actually turn it around, how can we use it to our advantage. Like, we are where we are, right? Like, we can't go back, past is done, future is to be created. So how can we maximize the potential? How can we make the best of what we've all gone through? How can we actually use all of that constructively, lovingly, and forward-thinkingly to create the most amazing Earth and world that we can ever create? That's basically, kind of in a nutshell, from my perspective, where this conversation is going. So the other two, if you want to kind of input your 5 cents and kind of give a direction, feel free.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, the shadow is such a broad topic, right? It's like where to pull it, where's to start to pull it? Is it in, where is it even created, and where does it play out? So for example, how do we create the shadow? So of course there are different levels and different times in time. Yeah. But if we look at a personal level, and probably it's also inherited by generations, so there are so many different levels. But if we start with something that can feel easier, then is to look at ourselves. So where in life did I, for example, as a child, I was not loved enough. So I started to develop a shadow of overdoing in order to be loved, or I hidden my needs so deeply because I just didn't believe that I was loved if I showed my needs. Yeah. And then the shadow of that can be that I start to manipulate, or I start to be a pleaser, or I become a rapist, or I start to do something because it's too vulnerable to be direct and honest. I mean, it's such a murky and fascinating field. Like we can even go to the extent of harming other people instead of just showing up and say, hey, I would like a hug. Yeah. So, and so that's how it starts. Yeah. How it starts, that we disown some part of ourselves. We make it wrong, ugly. For example, with sexuality, just look at, priests and religion. They made sexuality so wrong, and we all know the distortion that comes out of that. Just look at the shadow of sexuality in the world and the ripple effect that has, because it hasn't been dealt with in a healthy way. There are people getting raped, child abuse. There is, so much rapist. There is the objectifying of men and women, yeah, and then making it wrong, blaming like sexuality is something wrong. It's a massive shadow. Like, how do we even transform that? What needs to happen in order to lift that into the light? Yeah, and with that comes the one topic that I'm kind of passionate about is the whole like victim power and the victim blame game that's going on, which is useful because the victim was repressed for so many years, and Me Too happened, and then the ripple effect of that became that the victim became the perpetrator. What do we do with that? So there is always, as long as there is not an ownership of the personal shadow, it will just keep on being passed on over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah. So one good thing is to look at, where do I blame something in my surrounding and making that wrong, or hiding from owning up to that, like, and what do I need to look at in order to transform that into the light?
You're on fire. Oh, good to feel like this. Good.
Yeah, and kind of a few words from my side, copy that. And, each and one of us has, I imagine that this is true, personal interests of development. We all thriving, and we all want to grow and become a better version of ourselves, or a pure version of ourselves. And each and one of us is doing to some degree some personal work, and when we start working with that, my journey started about 30 or more than 30 years ago. And it's just like really digging into my own individual personal story, kind of just like my little me, myself, and I thing, kind of poor me, and what happened to me, and it's so bad, and where I've been born into, and grow on family, and this is all good, and we do all that, and then on one point it's just like the story is just like done, and then just like, what's the next one that we do? And then we just start working more on a community level, or we're working more on the family level, do family constellation, where we just want to clean different stuff up, or we just working more on a national level. So just like the identification that we carry, the country where we're from, what is the kind of political or any other values that we carry. And on one point, and we just actually go beyond that, and the collective level is just like, where are we going as humanity? What is our value as humanity? Where are we from? Where are we going? And what's in the way? And how can we contribute to a thriving community of humanity in total? And before we can go to the next level, we always have to clean up the level before. So if we don't have cleaned up our individual personal level, it's more difficult to have an impact on a collective level, or on a greater level. And we can't even see what's going on a bigger scale. And because the shadows become obvious, the more we have cleaned up our individual shit, and then the levels above. And I would like to share one little example, if I have this minute. In the Dearmouring training, we have an exercise. This is the predator, protector, prey exercise, where I ask people to identify just for a moment in a playful way as prey. You are meat. You can be eaten. And then I ask people in the space to pick another person without pointing at them and identify them as a predator. Yeah. And then I ask people to choose another person in the room without pointing at them, and that's your protector. And your job is as prey, or the victim mentality behind that is to move through the space that you bring your protector between you and your predator. And then it's a chaos, everybody runs around, bump into each other, is laughter and so on. And then at the end, I asked, so how was it when you are identify as the prey? And everybody said just like, it's vulnerable, I'm shaking, my heart is beating, my breath is kind of rapid. And so everybody can identify with that. And then said, so who is aware that you have been a protector to somebody? And then you have always a few hands saying, yeah, I was aware of somebody has using me as a protector. And then I asked the question, but who of you is aware that you have been chosen as a predator? And then normally only 1 or 2 hands up. And what I want to say was that none of us in here and none of us in the world has the choice who is choosing you as a predator. None of us. I would like you to let that sink in for a moment, because you don't know who chooses you as a predator. And you might feel identify in the position of poor me, just like I'm always in the position where the shit lands on my side. That said, we would like to opening up the space for you to share. What do you think the collective shadow is? What's the collective shadow that you see?
Even just
that
a shadow.
I want to say something just about the wrap
jump in.
exercise up, because it comes to this, which is a big dynamic, where we make others a perpetrator. Sometimes, yes, they are perpetrators, but sometimes not, yeah? And how much distortion that creates in the world when we invent that somebody is something, that's another shadow. We project or idealizing or project that somebody's a perpetrator. We project this idea onto somebody, so you don't even allow them to be themselves. Yeah. So for example, us as teachers, like, you don't know how many conversations we have with people who project their ideas onto us, and you experience this, all of us experience it, so it's nothing like special, but here we just might get more exposed for that type of experience. I mean, that's another shadow. It's like we invent a thing about somebody else without even checking in or having a finger on the pulse. Is this correct? So we misjudge and create expectations or needs that somebody should fulfill for us when we're not even expressing our needs, yeah? Or you're not even checking in if that role is what or who they are. Does it resonate? Do you resonate? Like, can you relate to that? Please raise a hand. Yeah. And this is something to be really aware of, because that's also a shadow. Like, where do I actually give a person a chance to be themselves, or where do I impose like an idea or a role or a position without even checking in? Yeah. And this is so important also when it comes to the perpetrator. Like the situation we had recently is that somebody got accused of being a perpetrator who's not the perpetrator. So it's like, it's really unfair. It's really unfair when we start to blame or finger point to other people without even having a reality check. Yeah. It's a very simple way of shining a light on a shadow. Yeah. For example.
All right, wait. Yeah. So all 3 of us were going like blah, 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 blah. And I feel like we are dumping stuff on the field. So let's pull a handbrake and just open the field. So what do you hear when we talk about the shadow? What is present? What is your truth? What is your understanding of the whole concept of individual shadow, collective shadow, all of this stuff that we talked about? What is really kind of for you? What is alive? What is true? What runs you, if you want to be like deeply honest? Let's hear it.
Please feel free to unmute yourself and speak. De-armor yourself.
I will. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do, yeah.
You raise a hand, whoever's. Yeah, we cannot unmute. Only
Okay.
one can be muted at the yeah. So Tommy, can you mute yourself as well? And Andreas, you can stay unmuted if you want to talk. Was it you talking?
It's yours, yeah.
It's Jose.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So I've been thinking about this shadow word. What does it mean for me? And I see that a lot of my behavior that is bad for me or harms me or others, it comes from a place that I'm self-condemning myself. Like for some reason on some time of my life, I decided to do I'm stuck here. This is the reality. I need to survive this, and this is how it is, and I'm stuck here. I'm condemned to it. So then I noticed on myself, there is this agreement on, I have to survive on this place. I don't have another choice. So I might like living on this self-condemned hell or something. And the things that I do, it's like on this series Narcos, I've been thinking a lot, like Pablo Escobar tells, like plata o plomo, like you're getting hit, you're going to die, or do you accept the bribery? And then the hell is something like this, like, okay, I will accept the bribery. So now that I accept the bribery, I can harm others. I get this right because
Wait, Jose, you're losing yourself. You're losing yourself in a story. Can you like come back to how do you see shadow? What does it mean to you? Like bring it back to you in simplicity.
So the way that I like to be and to live on a place that I don't have an option. Like I have to survive this. This is hell. I'm condemned inside. So I will do things to like this place.
Okay.
To be here. So that's the shadow. Like the part of me that likes to not have a light option, but to
justify
harm
hell.
others. Yeah, justify and okay, I'll have like a prize or like something. I can harm others. I can take from others. That's how I feel it.
Because I have to suffer this, I'm allowed to harm you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's clear. That's clear. Thank you for being straight.
Yeah,
And I would like to speak into that as well. So
wait. Let's hear it from the crew. Let's just put a figure on a pulse properly to get like 3 or 4. Just let's open it up a little bit.
It's very courageous, Jose.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So based on what you've shared, it seems to me like the collective shadow seems like, from what I've heard, like a collective armor actually that's based on from personal shadow or personal armor. And yeah, it just depends on the way how we're gonna tap onto parts of us and make them visible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something how it landed, what I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. And it becomes since generations, you know, so it's like it has different layers of being recreated. Yeah, brilliant summarizing. Thank you.
Rima, you raised a hand.
Yes, for me, one of the biggest questions I have around this topic, which I've been trying to untangle for quite some time, is the relationship, or let's say the conflict of interest between uncovering the shadow and religion. And how do these two play together?
Religion is a shadow.
You burn in hell for this, you burn in hell.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rima, can you, thank you so much, but can you just probe it a little bit deeper? Just give us a little more juice, what more do you think about it?
It's just something I think about a lot. For example, here in Jordan and in the region where there's, so many things are forbidden because they're considered as sinful. And I think one of the biggest shadows here is to reframe this as a good thing. So how do you bring light to this thing? How do you make light of something that is so ingrained that, oh, it's good that we don't have parties. It's good that women are not wearing what they want, and it's good. So, like, hold on, wait a minute.
Are we talking? What are we talking about?
Sorry?
What religion are we talking about?
The most dominant religion here is obviously the Sunni version of Islam.
Okay.
So for a group of us here, like free-spirited people and artists and people like that, trying our best to just be here. And I think this also connects to what Jose, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right, was saying, is like, am I trying to make hell beautiful? Is it, what do I do? Do I stay here and try to help people see and uncover these shadows? Or do I just go somewhere where I feel more belonging and freedom? This is
Yeah, it's a great
constant.
Thank you.
question. And this is also so interesting to look at. You know, I'm just going to mention it briefly, like this repression of humans to, like, it's sinful to be human, it's sinful to be a woman, it's sinful to be alive, it's sinful to be happy, like all this, like that's a massive shadow that is so deep in the subconscious. Like you say, how do we deal with it? You know, I mean, just one by one can wake up and unpack and be, you know, an example for others. But that's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, let's hear more. Yeah.
Thank you, Remy. Rima. Who else? Are you all living in Paradise, Garden, Eden? Yeah, Mighty.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Very well. Yes.
Okay. Shadow for me is the parts of myself that I don't accept, and I just push them down because for two reasons. One, as Rima mentioned, that society or religion deemed it unacceptable, so you shove it down, or something I personally decided is not worth being in the light, and I put it in the shadow. And then shadow also includes the parts that I'm not even aware of that I am hiding because of my upbringing, my conditioning. So anything that, for me at least, anything that when I meet someone for the first time, I'm aware that I shouldn't be sharing this, that's just shadow for me. And then there's the other parts which I'm not even aware of unless I have a friend who's really authentic and he'd be like, hey, he'll call me out on something to bring that to my awareness. So yeah, and shadow is huge. I mean, shadow is personal, collective. There's so many aspects to it. And I think once you become aware of it, that's when the process starts for you to undo some of that, and you know, shadow work and so on. So,
let's talk about the process afterwards. For now, we just like to put a finger on a pulse to see what the understanding of the concept is so far. Thank you, Maidi.
I resonate a lot with what Majdi said. Hello, everybody. I want to just add one thing, that I'm more aware that when there is a shadow of me that I don't accept, that I don't see, I'm projecting on the others.
Yeah.
The part that I don't want of me and I don't accept, I see it and I project it on the others. I see other person are the reflection of my shadow.
Some, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Any more? What do you hear when we say personal or collective shadow? What's the understanding? What are we kind of working with here?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I mean, we're here to experience life, and there's nothing that's good or bad. And so shadow is, for me, is something that's I'm unconscious of. patterns, behavior, and you could even look at it in terms of energy. Shadow can be energy. So it's for me to become aware of. I need, and then make a decision. Is that how I want to be? So I can have a shadow about I'm interacting with somebody else, and then I see that shadow, and it's then I can say to myself, okay, do I want to act in that way? It doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just my choice. I think so. That's personal shadow. The biggest shadows for me were like projection, judgment. So seeing them for what they are and seeing how I project and seeing other people's projections was quite liberating, because it was like freedom to then to choose not to receive someone's projection. I just can observe it. It's my choice to react to it. The same with judgment. Judgment of others, receiving judgment, and judgment of myself. It's all just the same thing. It's just an energy. It's so I can choose to be with or without judgment. And sorry, you're going to say something? No?
I was actually gonna stop you a little bit and to point finger directly. Like, we can talk about this, but let's talk at it. Let's talk into it. Let's be direct for the purpose of this webinar actually producing goodies. So let's start actually acknowledging the shadow. We go now from conceptual and we go into blah, blah, blah. So what would you say, Stuart? Like, which shadow runs you?
Which shadow runs me? It's a good question.
And everybody start thinking about the same thing, because there's the next question for everybody.
It's the deepest thing that I've found is the need for attention. That's, I think, was my biggest.
So what is a shadow?
The shadow is the need.
No,
the need.
That's obvious. That's not a shadow.
Well, if I'm acting, in a way that has an underlying need, and it's an energy, it's this neediness energy. And I'm unaware of it. Then it's,
go deeper. Like, be more direct. This is one layer is true, but go all the way down into the shadow. Like, really dive deep.
But the need for attention probably has, like, then you get high performing, or you get like, what is if the need is the shadow, what is the expression of the shadow?
You mean like where it comes from, or?
That's what Dian meant, where it comes from, but also that.
Yeah, this is from my mother, lack of.
No, wait, wait, no, no. Yeah, there we are. You said it.
You should have it.
What did you say?
Don't have it.
Perceived lack of love from my mother.
That's it. Lack of love. So the shadow need is not a shadow. Everybody sees it. Shadow is something that's hidden. Neediness is obvious. He's needed, she's needed. That's obvious. That's surface. The depth of it is, I need love. I want love. I'm not loved. And you're hiding that. Because in order to show that, it needs vulnerability. And it's open to rejection. It's open to be hurt, double hurt, because you were hurt already. So that's like a massive shadow that runs pretty much 90%. Yeah, 90% of the problem on the planet is due to that one. Yeah. Then nobody has the balls to be needy and to be vulnerable and to accept that they need love. Good one. Thank you. Anybody else? Both directly, you can see, like, point a finger into it and name it. Andreas.
I don't know if it's a shadow, but the thinking of what people think of me all the time, how I should, in my spirituality, express myself and think what people might think of me when I talk about my spirituality.
And then what they're really hiding? What is it?
I may hide that I don't feel enough in my spirituality.
Or at all, or yeah, like in everything maybe. Yeah.
So go even deeper. Go even deeper. Like, what's the core, the deepest shadow you can see in that kind of direction?
It's not also it's expressing myself in my spirituality, and if I don't do that, I don't feel that if I don't get seen as a spiritual, then I, in my loneliness or when I am self, I might feel sometimes that not even the universe sees me when nobody else sees me.
Thank you.
Kind of, yeah.
Thank you.
The shadow
Thanks.
unworthiness, or
Yes.
I'm nothing.
Yeah. If I don't express myself and whatever, in whatever way.
And actually, this runs back to the same one, because if you really go, if you chase that one all the way down to rabbit hole, it still comes I'm unloved.
Yeah. True.
core wounds. Yeah. Love,
Still needs
unworthiness.
vulnerability. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always.
So let's hear some more. Let's see if we can find something else. I mean, that's gonna take some seeking to see if there's something else rather than lack of love, because that's an interesting one. Let's go. So who else?
Can I?
I mean, the ego does anything to survive its own non-existence. So.
Ivana, go.
Yeah, so I'm often hiding myself behind giving, because it's much easier for me to give than receive, because if I put myself in the position of receiving, I will be too vulnerable and show myself as not capable or not sufficient enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, also the need to know stuff and to know things. It puts me also in a mode of a controller.
Yeah.
And yeah, over controlling.
What's your shadow then?
Yeah.
What is it that you? What is it that you?
Yeah, hiding.
Vulnerability.
Yeah.
Fear of
useless.
Yeah. Fear like fear of being average and normal.
Yeah.
That's also actually masking it. That's also not a.
Yeah.
No, it's not the. Yeah.
It's not the end.
No.
Okay.
Just
so
go
what
deeper.
could you do? What could you do then to turn, if you would own up to one part of your shadow? I mean, now you sit and you talk about it and you're very clever and you know how to express it. So what would you be an actual action step in order to own a piece of that shadow? What could be one action step?
Definitely putting myself in a position where I don't go into the usual role.
Sure. Yeah. Challenge it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, challenging myself, and but I would like to go deeper than now what I've said. I can feel that there is more depth to it, but at the moment it's not coming. Yeah.
Okay.
Sit with it. Yeah. Feel into the price of hiding behind your shadow.
So can you see everybody? I'm just gonna put like a reflection on what's happening in the field. Is that working with the shadows really, it's nothing more than a really caring conversation about someone. If you just if you want to get to the shadow, just give them space to talk, to express, and just go deeper and just hold it. Don't just allow them to speak and ask probe questions. That's one of the ways that we can help each other deal with the shadow, is to actually uncover it, to speak it, to own it, to see that it's just usually comes out of lack of love. But there are others, like what Rima was saying, with systemic shadows, like religion, government. There you actually, this won't work, but we can talk about it in a minute. So
But it also comes down to the I'm just looking at it, all these fears, like we have to fit in, be part of the tribe. This is kind of where it boils down to the longing for belonging, the longing to be loved, the longing to fit in. And this is why we allow the control or other to control us, or we start to behave in all the kind of different ways. And when we can look at the shadow from that perspective, we can find compassion for it, you know. But we often meet so many people, or I can speak for myself, that I mean, we are blessed, like we sit here and we listen to you and you have knowledge and you have a finger on the pulse, but there are so many people who don't have that, you know, and they get so scared, you know, when we scratch the surface. You know, I'm sure all of you have met one or two or many more people where you just ask a question, they're like, yeah, everything is fine, you know, or you just know that they are not. But there's such a fear to even show up and say, I have a shitty day, or I feel sad. Like, how did we get so far? Like, how can we normalize just being humans, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, this is my question. Like, we all know where we are. This is like basically like we all know by now that we got it from our mom and dad, and our mom and dad got it from their mom and dad, because nobody is perfect. They're all full of shit. So it just goes generationally on and on. So we know that. So what do we do about it? Like, it's us here in this group, in this webinar, are people who work on themselves. We are committed to being more than we already are and exposing everything. So how do we actually help in the first place ourselves, and then the world? Like, what do we do with it? Let's open that question.
We have 10 more minutes.
Yeah, I would like to add on one little line of thoughts here as well, because we all want to just like make an impact in the world. You know, we all see to some degree that there is injustice, or there is kind of dynamics happening that are not healthy, and we all want to make a change. And I guess to a degree, each one of you has some intention to make a better world where we live in. And I think to a degree that kind of healing the collective shadow can be an individual shadow, because then we don't have to look at ourselves. And that's pretty much what I would like to look at as well. Just like, where at ourselves don't we look at that the collective shadow is reflecting so strong in us?
I mean, that's a great point, like the wounded healer, you know, like it's classic, but that's like also kind of a useful shadow until we turn it around and understand. So we use our pain and it becomes power if we wake up to it, you know, and understand the driving motor behind the actions. Yeah.
Let's hear it from the field. Like, how can we, as awakened ones, how can we help the whole process? What can we do about world and yeah, the whole picture, bigger picture?
Tommy, please. Yeah, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm muted now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, this goes back to Matt. I was thinking about this thing too, or I've been thinking about it. What I usually do is what comes closest to me from the collective, what catches my attention the most. That is often what I need to see in myself. That is how I see, like, okay, why is this so up in my face all the time? Then there is something that I need to look back into myself. That's usually how I've been going at it. Maybe that's just a repetition from your answer.
No, it's valid.
Great.
Thank you, Tommy. Vincente?
Thank you.
Hi. For me, every time I start to talk people about shadow, people and myself in the beginning was very afraid to look at the things that they carry inside, or and most of the time when I'm trying to reach people, they are scared of looking inside. So this has been a question for me, how to make people not be scared to look inside, because this is the first point. They tremble. It's a horror. I'm doing this. I'm stuck in this hell, and I'm doing this, and comes guilt, comes horror, and people get afraid. And I have a lot of difficulty to get past this point. How to learn to have fear, not have fear of fear. just to look at it and experience the fear of looking at it. So this is my research. I don't know how to do it yet.
I can tell you.
That's what
I have a reflection as well at the end. You start.
So the way I deal with it is to show my fear and then to go through it. So when I speak to people who are afraid of something, then I face my own fear, I expose my shadow, I lay my shit on the table in a very vulnerable, human and transparent way, to the point that people can see. First it's like, oh fuck, he's not gonna do that. Oh fuck, he didn't just say that. And then when he does, and he still stays alive and doesn't shrivel, doesn't shrink, and my heart doesn't stop, that shows people the way to do it themselves. So you have to lead by example.
Yeah, lead by example is a great, and sometimes also understand that some people are not ready, they don't want to, and then we can just continue to lead by example, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Yeah.
Yes.
I have somebody I have somebody in my surrounding that I've been for years, you know, and I just tried all angles and reflection, and I was like, okay, and like I cannot force anybody, like it's a free will universe, yeah. But with time and with enough, like Dean said, showing my vulnerability, like when we don't have deep conversations, so I show by example what that my desire is actually to connect, to create connections. I show it comes from love and care, yeah, and through that people start to trust and feel and relax a little bit more, if it's the more kind of closed up type. Yeah.
Copy what Deanne and Sana said. Is just become a role model, ownership and radical self-responsibility. And what that means is taking really ownership about everything that is going on inside, and it is never the projection from the outside. To some degree, of course, if you're just living in a society where you have a survival oppression, or you live like in Brazil, where we have a lot of rape culture and oppression going on, it's just or like you said, Rima, it's just hard to break out and being a role model, because it can be lethal if you just actually show up with your honesty. And then it's the question, how can you, I like that quote from Buckminster Fuller, you can't repair an existing system, you need to create a new one that makes the old one obsolete. Just like, how can you create a new way of being a role model that is not threatening the status quo?
But this is what we're doing, like we're looking at how to transform it. It's like lead by example and inspire others to lead by example. I think this is like an bottom up or outside in movement.
Rima, you have your hand up, please.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I just wanted to share this practice or visualization that I found to be very helpful with this. And it's very simple. I just visualize a big field and it's full of flowers. And then these flowers are all the people in my life, whether I know them personally or on the internet or something. And then I do a quick scan and see who is standing out like a thorn. And then like whoever this thorn is, that is my mirror in that moment. And I found this to be very useful. And the other thing I wanted to share was humor. I'm finding humor so helpful when I'm able to laugh at my shadow. And I'm noticing, for example, if I'm saying something, I'm telling a story, and I notice myself lying or hiding or bending the truth, I notice that almost 10 times out of 10, when I become honest and I say, oh wow, actually that was not accurate. I actually bended my story in this way because I wanted you to think this. And I find that this creates much deeper connection and love.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just wanted to share that.
Beautiful, thank you.
That's a good thing.
Who else haven't said anything? Just like, who else is still hiding, trying to avoid? So whoever we heard about anything, please use that opportunity. We're just coming to an end soon. Show us who you are. You're more than welcome.
Monique.
Yes. Well, one thing what I find myself quite a lot judging others. It's like, okay, so what am I judging about myself? And what I find for myself and also for others is to be really to do it with a lot of compassion. I understand, yes, it can be difficult, but it's okay. You are safe here, and also say that to myself. So I think that's one thing I wanted to add.
You mean as you're judging?
As I'm judging, like, okay, what is it I'm judging? What am I judging in myself? And then also see it like, yes, sometimes I can see where it comes from. Sometimes I have to probe a bit deeper, but always do it with a lot of compassion. It's like, okay, it's okay to judge, but it's good that you catch it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the first step. Yeah.
Yeah. Any more? Alexius.
Hi. So, to gossip others while they are not present at the conversation.
It's a little bit hard to hear you. Can you speak closer to the microphone, perhaps?
Yes. To gossip other people that they are not present in the conversation. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
I didn't understand. To go to father?
To gossip others.
Yeah. Okay. Gossip about others who are not present in a conversation or not
Yes.
present in a room during a conversation. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Also being judgmental with others. And maybe there's a need underneath that I cannot talk to them directly. Maybe I want to be heard from others.
And you get angry because you're not, or is it that's why you backtalk, or?
Because I have suppressed my anger, and I thought that it was something bad, but I realized yesterday that anger is a very positive emotion.
Yes.
It was a breakthrough for me. So yes, I'm not yet have found the main cause that I'm doing that, but it's something that I really don't enjoy doing it.
Thank you for your honesty. Appreciate.
One or two more.
I love this. I love real, honest, authentic spaces. It's so fulfilling.
Yeah, and what you just said, Alexios, is so liberating, because gossip is one of the biggest thing in smaller circles, bigger circles, and this kind of back talking, Chinese whisper, creating stories, and it's
gossip about the gossipers.
Right, shadow boxing in the dark.
Yeah. Okay.
From somebody we haven't not heard about, if anybody would like to dare to speak who has not said anything, please.
Maybe I have a shadow to confess.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the biggest shadows is the feeling of helplessness. So I'm a perfectionist, control freak, hyper independent, super organized, high performer, everything, and fully in my head.
Yeah.
I think I'm just running away from my helplessness, and I have no access to it.
Yeah, you're gonna find a point where you're like hunting your tail so much you have to go into surrender, and then poof, where everything collapses, maybe.
Maybe you help me to surrender next week when we do Dearmouring by pleasure.
Are you going to Sicily?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
To bring my huge toolbox.
All right, who hasn't spoken and whose heart is beating, who's burning? Last person for this one. Michael, I think I've seen you.
Yeah,
Yes,
for me, when we talk about, or when you say, how do we help people, other people, become awake, aware, or however one wants to put it, it's through us as individuals, through me doing my work and living the example. This is the most powerful thing. the most powerful thing. When people see transformation in someone else, they're like, my God, you've changed so much. Or God, you look so much lighter because you've shed. You've shed and your skin looks lighter and everything. And by living that, it encourages others. But absolutely, there's no point. I mean, I remember at the beginning of my journey, so to speak, I was like, oh, I want to help this person. I want to help this person. Oh, come on, you got to do it. You got to do it. And then, they'll be like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm like, why not? But you just realize that each person is on their journey. And there's also, as Mel Robbins turns around and says, let them. It's okay for them to be in that space. It's absolutely okay. And of course, immediately when I go into that, then I shift and feel peaceful because I'm no longer trying to change someone.
Save some time and energy.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Sanity.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Brilliant.
So, and as you have heard probably already, yes, we have a dearmoring training. Yes, there are different versions of that. Deanne is offering something on them on his own. Sana's offering something on his own, and the three of us offering a dearmoring training. So there have been nearly over a decade that the Dearmouring Art School is out and offering trainings. There have been probably 500 people going through the school over the last 5 years. Is that probably accurate?
Yeah.
You both want to say a little bit about what's coming up next and what are we doing and how are we doing it? What does a dearmoring training actually are, and how do you get through your own shield, through your own protection, through your own layers? I want to share a little bit. I think the next comes up is yours, Sana, in Sicily, right?
Yeah, the next one is coming up in Sicily, but I just want to highlight the beauty of what I feel that is very unique, and I hear is unique with the training that we offer, is that we are so dedicated to authenticity and personal empowerment, and that we really have set a field for everything to arise. Like, we are so committed to truth, and we are not kind of spiritual bypass or pretending or denying. And I really love that. Like, we love the shadows, we love to empower individuals, and I love that space so much. Like, for that, it really has it's like we are space holder, but that thing is an entity on its own. It generates a certain transformation that is super potent. And if you're feeling called to learn more about dearming, yes, on a physical level, releasing pain, body, sexual healing, but also to really step into your personal power, that is, personal power is like overused and misused and can sound kind of vague. But if you're feeling called to really make a change in your life and in other people's lives, and living as a really authentic human being, and feel that you would like to join a space where I mean, I can talk about it, it doesn't matter, because if you haven't been there, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're feeling called if you resonate with us, and if you're feeling called to that path, and the path of authenticity, then you would like to, then you're welcome to check it out. Yeah.
Do you have, and by any chance, a link that you can drop in the chat, Sana, that people who are interested can
We're gonna send an email. We're gonna send an email tomorrow with the link of this recording of the webinar, and then the trainings as well.
All right. Okay. You want to say a few words, Diane?
Yeah, I do. What I'm cooking here on is basically, we had this conversation about how to dearmor collective and personal shadow, and really, from personal experience, for me, I need peers. I need to be with people who understand what I'm going through and who can hold my shit, because the world at large cannot. And so what I'm talking about, for example, is that, all of us have secrets, dark secrets. All of us have done things in our life that we're not proud of, and that nobody should ever know. Because if somebody should know these things, I could end up in prison, or I could get beaten up, or I could get killed, or I would definitely not be anybody's friend if people actually knew what I'm hiding inside. So everybody has those things, every single one of us, because that's what it means to be a human. And this is why we hide it. This is why shadow exists in the first place, because we don't have the balls to actually, we cannot, this society is not set up to hold space for truth to that depth. So what is needed is to have a safe space where I can actually express everything there is inside this system and have opportunity to transmute it into light, to actually make peace with my demons, to make peace with what I've done, and but actually make peace, not just sit in a group of criminals and confess crimes to each other. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sitting in front of people with open heart who understand what it means to be a human, who understand how difficult it is to actually own up to shit that we've done, and to understand how to transmute the energy from shadow into light. And so this thing takes time, and it needs time, and it needs people to hold that. And what the spaces that we hold are kind of spaces like that. It's really one of the safest spaces I know, and this is why I do it. I do it in Dearmouring Arts, I do it in Lovecore, I do it in my personal relationships. This is my life, because I know how difficult it is to be human. So if you feel like you have shit on your heart that you need to let go of, and you want to lighten your burden, and then, which means shadow work, then come to our trainings. This is really like from my heart. I know how difficult it is, and we guarantee you like one of the safest places you can ever have to be as fucked up as you want and think you are, and to come out feeling like 10 times lighter and just like more normal and humanized. So this is why we do these trainings. This is why we set them up as they are. This is why integrity is so, like, for me, this is the like knife, like it has to be. It has to be held, it has to be in integrity, it has to be truth. Otherwise, it's not good enough.
I like to say it from that perspective. There is no shadow in the face of light.
Yeah.
And you know, everything that is hidden and that wants to come up will. There is no chance that if there is a shadow running in the background that this will be hidden. And I'm just curious about people who have been in the training, if some of you feel
Let me just finish up.
I want to say something.
I just need to finish up. Hold it.
Okay.
I just need to finish up. Because what I was going to lead into is basically saying this, that it's not easy to catch your own shadow, because ego doesn't want to be heard and doesn't want to be seen. So 3 of us are super trained and super committed in hunting shadows. So if you have if you find yourself hiding in your life and you can't find a container strong enough to hold you, please come to our trainings, because we can. And we will kind of expose it in a loving and direct way, so there won't be any hiding. Yeah, that's it, we watch you. No, seriously, basically, like, this is what I wanted to kind of finish up with, that we are very skilled at doing it, and we do it with love. So you can trust us. Anyway, I'm done.
I want to add one small angle to it. It's not small at all. I want to add another angle to it, because yes, the shadow can be what we've done and how we harmed people, but it can also be like my shadow was how I harmed myself. Like, I was run by severe self-hatred and put myself through a lot of abuse, self-abuse, abusive relationships, sexual abuse, like you name it, drugs. Like, I was so unworthy and so useless and worthless, and that was my shadow. Yeah. And for me, that required tremendous amount of love and care and gentleness, like, so my little gentle flower could come to the surface. And in a world which is so harsh and, you know, very dominant, and it's very hard to exist in that sensitivity in this world. Yeah. And that's another missing piece in this society. It's like, I would call it the subtle feminine almost. Yeah. Because this is hard to exist in that sensitivity. And this is another piece that we also bring in there. So it's not just about some people, there's like the shadow runs different people in different ways. So some people need a more direct feedback, or some people have done shit in their life that they regret. And some people needs love and care and just a gentle hand holding in order to dare to be more vulnerable and feeling safe. Yeah. So it's really the whole spectra of the shadow work. And I feel that is very important to bring into.
I would like to give it to some people who have done the training with us. If you would like to share a few words about your experience and what is your benefit out of it, and, you know, breaking through some shields and armors, and please feel free to share a few words if you feel inspired. Michael, please.
It will change your life. That Dearmouring changed my life.
How?
I mean, I never forget when Susanna, when you turned around and said, this is going to be a game changer for you. And that was, I was taking because I wasn't showing up.
Yeah.
For me. But I showed up for this one. Right? I showed up for her. And afterwards, I mean, it was just like, it was sudden. It was, my life changed completely. And as you said, this is going to be a game changer. And it has been, because I notice I've got a radar of picking up on takers just like this, just like coming through the back door of Tantra and all sorts of things. I'm like, oh, but yeah, Dearmouring will change your life if you're willing to show up. You first of all, you know, as soon as I made the reservation for coming for Dearmouring, I literally threw up because I knew what I was coming to face myself. I knew what I was coming to, and it was just liberation, self-liberation, and a new me was born. That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you so much, Michael. Who else? Stuart, please, and then Monique.
I'm speaking.
Okay. Yes, I'm going to talk about the basic training. I think it was 2019, 11 days. And I stood up in front of 50 people, I think, and told them about an experience that happened in my childhood when I was molested by a school teacher. And it kind of hit me sideways, just knocked me sideways because I wasn't expecting that it had such an effect on me, you know. But yeah, life-changing. And I could only do that because of the support that was in that training, the way that things were set up. Very powerful, very powerful. And yeah, to say when you sign up for these things, your ego starts to, like, it's scared. Your ego gets scared, so things are going to get uncomfortable. But you just have to go. That's it. You just have to go.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Antje.
Monique.
Antje.
I said Monique. I'm running the back office.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I did. I did the Dearmouring training. I think in 17, the first one. After I got into a burnout, I said, okay, I have to change something because, and yes, it did change my life. It was the first step. I didn't want to be seen because I was scared to be hurt. And now I say, okay, I step into the light. I show myself as I am. And yeah, now I'm doing Dearmouring training. I give Dearmouring sessions and everything. And yeah, I can support other people and still work on myself, keep on working. So it has been a few years that have been changing and changing and changing again. And yes, you three, well, with Suzanne and with actually you four with Suzanne Worsgaard, they really, yeah, you really give a wonderful example of exactly being authentic and being there, and if necessary, going straight ahead and cut through the bullshits, and other moments really with deep care and love, and yeah, really beautiful example. And I still look up at you and it's like, yes, this is how I want to be too, and do my work as good as possible.
Thank you so much, Monique. Antje, and then Jenny, I've seen you unmuting yourself. So Antje next.
Okay, I don't know, you can see me. I think not. It's not working.
No, we can't see you, can hear you.
You're in the shadow.
Great. Okay, yes. So I was in the training in Sweden last year, and it was really changing my life because I started to feel myself, and I started to feel the pain, and I really learned in the training to enjoy the pain. And in the same moment, I start to feel the joy and happiness, and to feel my clients, I'm midwife, and to feel my children. And it was really changing my life, and I'm really grateful. And it don't stop. So from this retreat in Sweden, every day until now, it's changing a lot because I feel myself. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome,
Thank you
sister.
so much, Antje. So I don't know if Jenny, I saw you unmuted, but then you stopped. Would you like to speak in this order? Then speak now. Otherwise, it's Davide and then Astrid.
And then time to wrap up.
And then we wrap it up, yes. 3, 2, 1. Okay, Davide, go, and then Astrid.
Okay, in many years, 30 years of research to work on myself, I choose these three mentor, because I had many tantra, theater, singing. But what these three person give it to me, it is the fact to be honest and authentic, and see and show to me I am also a human, I also shit, I'm going through troubles, and I'm working on myself. This was for me one of the most the better things, that I can trust you. I can trust in the space you are, because you don't put you in a pedestal, you don't put you up on me. You are like me, you are with me to support me, also to be strong. I can say there are times they are strong, there are times that are loving and soft. It depends what I need to help myself to liberate, to see a shadow, to liberate a shadow, depends what I need. So this is a very safe and lovely and human environment where to see ourselves and grow.
Thank you, David. It's Dearmouring Arts.
Yeah.
Astrid, please.
I have been with them for 3 times in the trainings, assisting and participating. And for me, it was a life changer. First situation showed up and it was a ripple over a long time. I can remember when I was screaming to Dejan, projecting my father on him.
What happened?
Can happen.
Can happen. Yes, exactly. Can happen. Took it back. Yeah. But that was like, yeah, what I want to say with this, the deep grief and sorrow and pain, what was sitting there. And I really loved what you actually said, Sana. Some people need not a harsh razor blade. They need actually loving, caring. And for me, since then, it's personally journey to move actually my vulnerability. And I love the word of subtle feminine. That kind of touched me deeply. Because for me personally, I feel it's a deep journey towards this. Yeah, putting the male aside, which is already there, but doesn't need to be so strong. So like, and the feminine never really felt safe in me. And coming through this, and with this being here, I love you dearly. Comes a lot of new layers up, yeah, but working through that. But with regards to the container, I love the diversity, what it brings, because each and every one of them have their specialities, and they target it towards you, and together it's like it's a foundation. It's like the triangle. So, and I loved these spaces very much. They had been fucking intense, definitely, either participating or assisting, but it was really worth to do it, and I would do it again. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is we have been flying people in from all over the world, so from all corners of the world. So, I mean, people really show up for themselves and just like,
They have flew themselves in, we have not flew them in.
They flew themselves in. Yeah, it's just like they come from all over the world. This is just absolutely amazing to see. So it's time to wrap it up, and would like to ask you, Deanne or Sana, who would like to start saying some closing words. And for you all here in the Zoom room, please feel free to write in the chat, what is your main takeaway? What is your aha that you take with you here today? And while you're typing, Deanne and Sana, would you like to give some?
Yeah, I want to say
final
something
thoughts?
about if you're feeling called to explore the training, and we have a training coming up 1st to 11th of June in Sicily. We will send the information out with an email tomorrow. But if you want, there will also be a link there where you can book a call and have a conversation, like just an open dialogue. If this is for you, if you want to have some, you know, if you have some questions and so on, well, feel free to reach out. Yeah, so there will be a link in that email so you can book a call or reach out to one of us if you just like have a question. That's just totally welcome to do it over Facebook or so.
I mean, I'm also open. I don't know about you too, but basically, I'm open to offer like my time. I'm very kind of approachable, so, and I have plenty of free time. So if you want to talk about anything shadow oriented, please look me up, because I really am committed to working with people on grounding love and acceptance of yourself. So reach out, don't be afraid. It's okay. You know, I have time and you have my permission. So get in touch and let's talk.
Yeah, same on my side. So you will get in that email from each and one of us link where you can book an individual call, just have a conversation. How can Dearmouring benefit you in your life, and just choose one of us who is resonating with you. And if you have any questions about the training, we just share from our heart and see how we can support you in the best possible way.
And I want to say one thing, that is to make this shadow hunt and personal growth as a sport, like we three have that.
Yeah, and
really,
a lifestyle.
After this evening, like really tap into what is the one thing you could do to grow into more of your power and potential. Like one little fear that you could turn around. Is it somebody you're interested in, you can, you know, ask to share time with? Is it something vulnerable? Can you ask somebody for help? Do you need to confess something? Do you need to apologize? What is one thing that you can do to liberate yourself?
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is, wherever you are in the world, all this kind of tools and possibilities, you can just all bring that into your environment, into your surrounding, into your local community, and de-armor people around you. So if you become a professional and bring your hands on people's bodies or in the energy field and share your gift and your skills in the world. So the world needs you, the world wants you. Yes. That said, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for joining today.